All right, everyone. Great work on your projects today. I'm so glad you all finished. Now, before you leave for the weekend, I want to encourage you all to go to the new art museum in town. It just opened this past week and has work from some of the painters that we studied for the last test. I think you'll find all of the paintings really interesting. Plus, you can buy tickets for half price on Saturday and Sunday, so you should really visit the museum this weekend if you can.
It's that time of year again. On top of all your student activities and studies, it's time to look for an apartment again. But this year, look no further than Villas University Apartments. With low prices, lots of space, and a great location close to tons of new restaurants, Villas is the place for you. We're even next door to the gym, so you can finally get to your exercise classes without breaking a sweat. Give us a call now at 555-456-7890 to set up an appointment and start renting from us. We make it easy. So stop looking for apartments and get back to your study groups and your club meetings. You know, the important stuff, because Villas University Apartments will take care of the rest.
Oh, you're going to get a pizza at the food stand? Let me tell you what I want, too, as long as you're going up there. Hold on. I'm just trying to think. Last time I had the fried chicken, but I didn't really like it very much, and I feel like eating something more than their chips. Maybe I'll go with the deli sandwich. Yeah, a sandwich actually sounds really good. Just let me know how much it costs when you get back. Thanks.
Looks like you found quite a few good books today. Before I ring you up, though, I just want to let you know that, unfortunately, our credit card machine's broken. So, yeah, it's cash only today. It's really annoying. I know. I'm sorry. I can keep your books for you until tomorrow if you want, if you don't have enough cash with you now.
Okay, so the health center. Let's see. As you're coming out of the library, go left on Easton, and then make a left onto Duke. Past the first intersection and walk to Lewis Street. Then you want to make a left on Lewis, and the health center will be the, second building on your left.
Hi, welcome to our store. Have you checked out our jeans? They're really comfortable and they're on sale today. Actually, almost everything in the store has some sort of deal today. The jeans are a buy one, get one 50% off. These shirts against this wall are 40% off, and the ones over here are buy one, get one free. Well, take a look and let me know if you have any questions. The tours go to all the famous places in the city. You can download the map from our website. The tickets are day tickets, and you can get off the bus whenever you like and get on again. The tour buses leave every 30 minutes from the starting point at City Hall, just 1 block away, with the first one at 9:30 and the last one leaving at 5. Tickets are $15 for adults and $5 for children under 12. You can't buy tickets on the bus. You need to buy them here at the tour bus office, which is open every day from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
Hi, Victoria. I'm so sorry, but I just learned that my flight will be delayed. It will be arriving in Chicago 1 hour later than I told you. Instead of 1 p.m., please pick me up at the airport at 2 p.m. I hope this is okay. I don't remember if you were going to be really busy today. I guess call my cell phone if you cannot meet me. See you soon.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to see so many of you here tonight. As you know, this is the 19th Senior Orchestra Concert, and our students are very excited to share their music with you. In preparation for our concert, I'd like to ask everyone to turn off or silence all cell phones. I'll give you just a moment to do so. Thank you very much. We don't mind cameras during the concert, but we'd like to avoid cell phone interruptions so that you can fully enjoy the wonderful music we have prepared for you. Excellent. Now that we have all cell phones turned off, let's begin. If you take a look at our program, you'll see that our first piece uses 6 different stringed instruments and was written by the famous musician Beethoven.
It's Friday morning and a snow warning has been issued for the area starting at 12 noon. Morning schedules will continue without change, but all afternoon university activities will be canceled. However, the sports finals on Saturday morning will not be canceled. In addition, the exam schedules for Monday morning have not changed. Again, the university will close this afternoon, Friday the 18th, and there will be no activities. The sports games on Saturday and the exams on Monday have not changed and will continue as planned. Hello, everyone. So, before we begin, I wanted to let you all know that next week we'll be meeting in a different place for 2 days. On Monday and Wednesday of next week, rather than meeting in our regular classroom, we'll be meeting in the computer lab for you to work on your individual projects during class time. This way, if you have any questions, I can be there to help you. Please come ready to work on your project in the computer lab. You should have already chosen your topics and started your research. If you have any questions, please talk to me after class in my office. So remember, starting on Monday, we'll meet directly in the computer lab for class.
Attention, please. The Student Center will have different hours next week on Wednesday and Thursday due to a scheduled cleaning. On Wednesday, The Student Center will close at 3 p.m. On Thursday, the Student Center will open at noon. During the cleaning, between Wednesday at 3 and Thursday at noon, all student activities have been canceled. The Student Center will have normal hours again starting on Friday. If you have any questions, please come to the front desk for more information or call 888-555-1900. Thank you for your patience as we make the Student Center a cleaner place for our students.
Have you ever wanted to try a new sport? Do you want to exercise more? If so, the University Gym has a deal for you. Starting September 1st, it will be offering new sports classes like tennis, swimming, badminton, and more. The classes are small, the teachers are fun, the matches are friendly, and let's be honest, we all need a break from studying for exams. Classes are open to all university students, so sign up soon. The beginning of the school year is a great time to try new things. Start your new hobby now with the sports class at the University Gym.
Hudson University is pleased to announce a new bus service that will bring students from the center of town to the university. The bus will run continuously from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. The bus will leave from City Park and make stops at the gym, the Science Center, West Dorms, and the Administration Building. Recently, there have been problems finding enough parking spaces, so the administration hopes the new service will result in fewer students driving to the university. In addition, the university believes more local students will take classes at Hudson University now that there is a safe and easy way to get from town to school. Also, a few students have reported feeling unsafe walking, particularly after dark. If the bus service is successful, night service will be added. This will help students get back and forth from town safely and also get around the university without incident.
Spring vacation, a time to get away, relax in a nice hotel, and soak up some sun on the beach. But before you leave campus to see all those new places with your friends, make sure you stop by the Student Travel Center. The Student Travel Center can give you information about where you're traveling, what to do there, and how to stay safe. We can even help you make travel plans for cheap flights and hotels, and give you some useful travel tips, like the best places to change money. Sometimes asking friends and family for advice just isn't enough. Get travel help from the professionals at the Student Travel Center today.
We'd like to welcome all students to Snellers, the popular choice for university students. We have everything you need for your studies, from notebooks to paint supplies. But the best thing about our store is our huge selection of books. This month, we have some great deals on books for business students. Before you buy, go to our website to see which books are needed for different courses. After you buy your books, come read them in our fantastic coffee shop. We serve the best coffee in town. And remember, you can save money when you get the Snellers shopping card. Card members get 20% off all school supplies, excluding textbooks, with their shopping cards. Get a shopping cart today and start saving. We're open 7 days a week, so what are you waiting for? Come and visit today.
Okay, looks like everybody made it here. Great. Now remember, you're not just here for fun, admiring the animals and hanging out with your friends and all. You have work to do, and your job is to watch the animals you were assigned and just write down whatever you see. So then, in class Thursday, we'll discuss all your observations and information. If anybody has any questions, just feel free to come up now and ask before you go find your animals. Oh, and I'm also planning to eat lunch in the cafe at 12 o'clock, so you can probably find me then if you need some help. Oh, and remember, we're meeting back here at 4 o'clock, so it looks like it's 10 o'clock now, so that gives you about 6 hours. Okay, let's get to work.
Oh, yep, I know where you're going. To the Circle Market near, the Westlake Park. Well, first, you're going on the wrong bus. This is the 4A bus, and you need to be on the 4B. On weekends, the 4A changes its route. So, if today had been the weekday, you'd be all set. But seeing as it's Saturday, you'll have to get on the 4B instead. Okay, you have your ticket? Right. Keep that. So, we're coming up to the corner of Garrison Street and Hill Road, so I'll stop and let you out. Cross Hill Road and stand at the stop on the other side. Get on the next 4B bus, wait 7 stops, then walk down Main Street, and the market will be a few minutes from there. Good luck.
Of course, I'd be happy to give you some advice about what courses to take next semester. So, let's see. Right now, you're taking a chemistry class with me, and it looks like... Yes, I see that you've already taken a biology class. And last semester, you took a geography class. Why don't you take a physics class? You've done very well in all of your science courses so far, and I think you might enjoy physics. Let me check when those classes are next semester. I know that you said that your schedule is full except for Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So, hopefully, we can find something. Here's one. Oh, but that's on Thursday, and you can't do that. Ah, yes, here we go. There's a class on Mondays at 2 p.m. Perfect. Yes, I definitely recommend that Monday section of Physics 101. I know the professor who will be teaching it, and I really think you'd learn a lot.
Hi, everyone. My name is Caitlin, John and I were both chosen as university scholars last year, and today we're going to tell you a little bit about the program so you can think about applying for yourself. So, as you may know, 5 students in their 3rd year of university are chosen for the program each year. The award includes a full scholarship for 2 years, all your tuition paid for, which has been really nice, but it's more than just money. The program also really does a lot to get you ready for life after university. The mentorship program is amazing. They match you with a former student who can help you learn about job interviews and how to look for jobs. Like, my mentor is a doctor at Metropolitan Hospital, and I ask him everything. He's been really helpful about choosing classes, finding medical schools, everything. So it's a great program. And the other thing really is that you meet other students through the program, because there are a lot of social events like dinners or barbecues, which are a lot of fun. And it's also a chance to help each other out and give advice like trade study tips. Oh, and another thing. Well, John will talk about what kind of students are accepted, but most of us are pretty active on campus. Like, we belong to other honors societies and clubs. I actually am president of the Red Line Society. You know, the student professional club. And then I'm a member of the Friends of the Library. So, University Scholars is definitely looking for student leaders who participate in a lot of different activities. So they really do expect that you're involved with other groups. So, John is going to tell you more about what they're looking for and how you can apply.
Right. So, the University Scholars was founded 20 years ago to reward students with excellent academic achievement and high moral character. So, they're looking for very good grades. You have to have a minimum of a 3.5 grade average and generally be in the top 5% of your class. So it's not easy, but it's more than grades. Like Caitlin said, you need to be active in other organizations and activities. Like I volunteer at the hospital visiting sick people, and they really like that. And Caitlin and I both help run the annual university charity drive. And the application process is very intense. You have to be prepared because they really look at everything you've done. In fact, at the interview, actually the guy who interviewed me is now my mentor. At the interview, they asked me about a job I had in secondary school. I actually worked as a cashier at a fast food restaurant, just for some pocket money or whatever, and they wanted to know about it, why I worked there, what I learned from it. And honestly, I hadn't thought about it that much, and I really wasn't prepared at all for questions like that. So be ready for some surprises. So, let me tell you exactly how the application process works.
Great, so let's move on. Now we're going to talk about what you actually do when someone calls in for help. We have a very clear procedure, step by step, for how you should handle calls, and I think they're pretty straightforward. So, step 1. First thing, you need to get some info from them. We need to keep a written record of everyone who gets service, so greet them politely and then ask their name, their university ID number, and their department number. And write it down in this red book. You'll see spaces for that information. Oh, and write down the time of the call. You should put that first, even though there's no blank specifically labeled time. After that, the order is pretty clear. Name, ID, department. Got it? Step 2 is to actually ask them what the problem is. And it may not seem like I need to tell you that, right? But make sure you ask them the problem and listen to the answer. Ask follow-up questions and make sure you get all the details. Also, ask them what they already did, like, did they check for viruses? No point in making them do something twice, especially since a lot of people will try to restart the computer, which can take 10 minutes sometimes. So, don't make them spend time on things they've already done. Step 3, as you can probably guess, is fix the problem. But the very first thing I want you to do is always have the caller save everything they are working on. If you do something to the computer and it restarts unexpectedly, they could lose everything. So before you do anything, get them to save. Some of you might think it's a good idea for them to close all the programs too, but if one of those programs is causing the problem, you won't know that when it's closed. So let them leave everything open the way it is. We also have a rule that if you're on the phone for more than 20 minutes, then get off the phone and go in person. And that's because if it's taking you like 30 minutes, you're probably running a bunch of tests. And you don't need to keep someone on the phone for a 15-minute long scan of their memory. The other thing is, if the problem takes more than 20 minutes to solve, it's probably going to be something you need to be doing yourself, not telling them to do over the phone. So, if you do need to go in person, remember to always...
I'm here today to talk about my job, why I chose to do what I do, and what my job involves on a typical day. And at the end, you'll have a chance to ask me some questions, if you have any. Well, when I was a child, I was always interested in science, and I used to think I'd like to be a doctor. But when it came down to choosing a career, I wasn't sure I wanted to study for so many years. I also considered teaching, and that's a great option too, if you're good at science. But then at school, I found that I like to learn in the laboratory and do experiments, and so I started to think about studying to be a scientist. It may seem like a very serious job. My team and I work with diseases, and we try to find medicine that will make people better. So it's serious, but it's also a very rewarding job, and I love it. So, what does my job involve, and what do I do on a typical day? Well, most scientists are primarily involved with doing research, and I always start the day by checking any experiments or tests the team in my lab is working on to see if there's been any progress or any changes to the results. That's a really fun part of my job. But you might be surprised to learn that it's not all a scientist does. I also spend a lot of time communicating with other scientists and researchers. Sometimes I contact people who may be able to help me, like if they have a lot of experience and knowledge in an area of study, for example. But what I actually spend most of my time doing is reading. Since I'm the leader of my research team, I have to keep current on what's going on in scientific research around the world, to make sure that the work my lab is doing stays up to date. So I spend a lot of time reading articles, especially articles about the specific diseases my lab is studying, or articles about new research methods and equipment. That also helps me when I have to write and publish research papers about experiments we've done in our lab, because I know what other researchers are doing and how it relates to our work. So, the job can be difficult. When you work hard on something for a long time and you don't get good results, that can be very tough. But then you also get many chances to discover something that can help people, and I love that about my job. Even though I work a lot of long hours and have to travel a lot sometimes, it's great when you can do presentations or write about new and interesting discoveries so more people know about them. So, let's look at what you need to study.
Are you a fan of jazz? Well, here's your chance to enjoy a type of music that is over 100 years old, but still sounds as fresh as if it was created yesterday. And it's become very popular with students over the years, too. If you're not sure jazz is your thing, come along and listen for yourself. Next Saturday, there will be an evening of jazz entertainment performed by our very talented University Jazz Band, who already have many excellent online reviews. They will be playing all their favorite tunes, and some new ones too. Tickets will sell quickly, so it's a good idea to buy them now. Call Simon at 617-555-1000 for more details and to buy tickets. If you're interested in learning how to play a jazz instrument, stick around after Saturday's performance and meet some of the teachers. Although there aren't any formal presentations about this, there is a poster opposite Student Services with a list of all the teachers and the instruments they play. So, what are you waiting for? There's never been a better opportunity to enjoy jazz. Hi again. So today we're going to talk about one of the founders of Western philosophy, a philosopher you've probably heard of before named Socrates, who was the teacher of Plato, who was the teacher of Aristotle, and so on and so forth. But actually, Socrates, despite his fame, never actually wrote a word of philosophy, so far as we know. What he did is he had long conversations with other wise people, and the students who were nearby would record these conversations. And these are called dialogues. So today, we're going to look at Socrates' dialogue with a man named Euthyphro. So Socrates and Euthyphro are discussing what it is to be morally good. And this is a great philosophical question, but it's also relevant at the time, because Socrates has just been accused by members of the Athenian community of corrupting the youth and being immoral. And Socrates insists that he doesn't mean to be a bad guy or be a corrupting force. Instead, he just doesn't understand what it is to be morally good and how you determine that. So he says, I'm ignorant. I'm not immoral. And then, when he runs into this man who's really famous for being moral, Euthyphro, at the court of Athens, he goes after him and asks if they can figure this puzzle out together. You see, Euthyphro's also at court for legal reasons, fairly controversial ones. So, Socrates says that since he's so sure of himself, Euthyphro's got to have an explanation for him about what morally good means. So then, Euthyphro, after some back and forth, suggests that what is morally good is what is loved by the gods. You all remember our discussion of the classical Greek gods from last semester, yeah? And he says that that's what it is to be morally good. It's that an action is loved by the gods. But Socrates points out that there are two ways of interpreting this statement, neither of which is going to be acceptable to Euthyphro, because it's either contradictory or leads them to a bad conclusion. And this is called the Euthyphro dilemma. Now, a dilemma in philosophy is a problem with two outcomes, neither of which is acceptable, which really coheres with our colloquial way of thinking about dilemmas as being in a tough position or being in a jam. So Euthyphro says that the morally good thing is what the gods love. And Socrates asks this: is something good because the gods love it, or do the gods love something because it's good? Now, there's Euthyphro's first suggestion: something is morally good because the gods love it. It's the gods loving this act that makes it right, and nothing else. It's simply that gods hate lies. Gods like it when you give charity, and that's what makes something right or wrong. This is what's often called divine command theory. And this is kind of a problematic conception of goodness because it makes goodness seem somewhat arbitrary. Now, we think there's something about actions themselves that are good and bad, that there are reasons that things are right and wrong, not just that the gods tend to like them or oppose them, right? So we think that it would be wrong to tell your good friend a lie because you owe it to them to tell them the truth, or because it's respectful to tell the truth, or it would hurt their feelings if they found out you were lying. But on this interpretation, it's simply that the gods don't like lying that would make it wrong to lie to your friend. But like Socrates points out, that seems a bit counterintuitive. It's also the case that this is going to be an arbitrary conception of goodness, because if the gods suddenly thought the opposite, that murder is good, that robbery was good, then these things would truly be morally good if the gods are the authors of morality. Then whatever they say goes. That also seems deeply counterintuitive, that murder could just be good at the drop of a hat. And Socrates gives us something else to think about. If the gods are our examples of good, why do the gods have so many character flaws? The second way of interpreting what Euthyphro has said, though, is something Socrates asks. What if the gods love something because it's morally good? In this case, the gods aren't the author of what's good, but the gods are more like infallible reporters, that there's some moral good, moral right and wrong in the universe that's independent of the gods, and the gods know about it. Well, this is going to be a problem also because the good is independent of the gods, meaning that the gods are unnecessary for morality. It's also the case that this is going to limit the gods' omnipotence. If God is also all good, which a lot of religious traditions would also think, then this independent morality limits the gods' power by determining what good things they can do. So, this is Euthyphro's dilemma, that either Euthyphro's conception of moral goodness either ends up an arbitrariness or an unnecessary role for God. And Euthyphro doesn't want to admit either of those things. So he basically pulls out of the conversation and rushes off out of the court.
So, thinking about costs associated with energy production and consumption, from a systems perspective, we have to distinguish energy on the consumption, on the consumer side, from energy on the production side. And what I mean by that is energy from a consumption perspective. When we look at the demand side of the equation, we're talking about stuff like electricity consumed by a refrigerator, the amount of megabTUs of natural gas burned in a heating furnace, versus on the source side, we're going to talk about, for example, electricity generated by a coal-burning power plant or by an array of solar panels. And if we want to give a fair comparison of the cost of this energy on the source side, right? If we're looking at it from a systems perspective, so we're tracing the energy back to the source, and we want to compare different sources of energy. What we have to be careful of is giving an equal comparison, right? Comparing them on an equal basis. And a good example is thinking about costs associated with let's say a kilowatt of installed solar PV versus a kilowatt of installed coal, like a coal burning power plant. And we think about that from a dollars per kilowatt perspective, right? We're comparing costs of energy derived from these two sources. It's comparing apples to oranges, because a kilowatt of installed solar is a lot different from a kilowatt of installed coal, in the sense that kilowatt of electricity from a solar PV system is going to generate a lot less energy. Keep in mind that a kilowatt measures power. It's going to generate a lot less energy than the equivalent kilowatt of of installed coal over the course of, say, a year, and for obvious reasons. So one way to measure the cost of energy from the source, or electricity in this case, is by using to equal out the playing field per se, is by using the levelized cost of energy. This is a measure that allows us to compare energy derived from different sources with different characteristics and different cost structures involved in the generation of electricity. And it's typically measured in dollars per kilowatt hour. So that's just like the amount of electricity that you pay for on a utility bill. And the levelized cost of electricity is a decently fair way of measuring the cost of electricity at the source, right? The price of electricity at the source, at the power plant, or solar array or whatever, for a number of reasons. And one is that a kilowatt hour in general, a kilowatt hour at the power plant or at the wind farm is a kilowatt hour of electricity is pretty much the same whether it's generated by natural gas, coal, or wind, with some caution there, because electricity dispatchers treat a kilowatt hour of wind electricity a bit differently than a kilowatt hour of coal electricity, but we don't need to get into that here. For our purposes, it's fine. It's generally a pretty close between those two types of kilowatt hours. It's the same unit, but the source is different. But for us, we can think of it as pretty much the same. A kilowatt hour here is the same thing across the board. And the levelized cost of electricity also accounts for the electricity and the cost associated with each source over its lifetime, right? So if you have a power plant, the levelized cost of electricity takes into account all the electricity and all the money that's going to be spent on that power plant over its lifetime. You know, a solar array could generate the same amount of electricity yearly for 15 years, 20 years, same thing with a wind farm, and fossil fuel power plants generally last a lot longer than that, 30, 40 years. So the levelized cost of electricity takes that into account. And if you look at the cost of electricity generation from an investment perspective, which is a better investment, a $1 billion nuclear power plant or a smaller natural gas plant with a shorter lifetime, and what the levelized cost of electricity does is it allows you to take a comparison that would normally be apples to oranges like that, because there's two very different sources, by kind of making sure that you're measuring the same thing coming from both. And finally, the LCOE accounts for the time value of money, in the sense that money spent up front to build a power plant is not the same as money spent 15 years or 20 years down the road to maintain it.